Alright, so here's the thing with Pokemon. It's a very samey series. And what I mean by that is that ever since the series began, not a whole lot has changed. Game Freak has never really done anything to spice the series up. Now, a lot of people argue that Nintendo milks a lot of their series, which is probably pretty true, because Mario and Pokemon are prime examples of this. Last time we saw any innovation in a Mario game was in Mario Galaxy, which came out years ago. And literally every Pokemon game is the exact same, save for a few changes in the metagame, like the addition of Dark and Steel types and then Fairy types later on. But the truth is, no one really cares about that stuff, because the vast majority of people, including myself, want to see something new and exciting. We want to see a breath of fresh air in Pokemon. But what a lot of people don't know is that a Pokemon RPG that came out over a decade ago exists, and it completely breaks the molds of every game that preceded it. That game is Pokémon Colosseum for the GameCube. I'm gonna say straight up that I adore this game. While it may not be perfect, the fact that it's strayed away from the usual Pokemon formula is what makes it so great and unique. It was made by Genius Sonority, who later went on to make other Pokemon spin-offs like the sequel to this game, XD Gale of Darkness, Pokemon Chose, and Learn with Pokemon Typing Adventure. What? Anyway, the point is that Game Freak did not make this game, which might explain the drastic change in how the game plays compared to other games in the main series. Perhaps the biggest and most interesting thing about this game that makes it stand out from the rest of the series is the fact they don't play as a 10-year-old kid who's just starting out his Pokemon adventure and his goal is to take down all 8 gym leaders and subsequently the Elite Four. You play as West, a former member of the criminal organization Team Snag'em who steal Pokemon from other trainers. The game begins when West destroys Snag'em's hideout and steals their Snag machine, which gives its user the ability to steal people's Pokemon. What's genius about this is that because your character isn't a generic child who has the same dreams and aspirations like literally every other Pokemon protagonist, it allows him to develop his own personality through gameplay. Mostly through Rui, who shows up pretty early in the game, who basically just says straight up what you're like, because West doesn't actually talk. Another awesome thing about this game is that every battle is a double battle, meaning there's a lot more strategy involved in combat as opposed to combat in the main series where most battles consist of you spamming the A button over and over because there's only one Pokemon out at a time instead of 2. However, a negative consequence of this is that battles drag on for much longer than they would in single battles. The super long attack animations contribute to dragging the battles on. They get kinda boring as time goes on. I can understand that this isn't everyone's cup of tea, and it'll probably annoy a lot of people playing the game for the first time. It's a pretty large flaw that the game has. Another interesting and unique mechanic in this game is Shadow Pokemon. Shadow Pokemon are Pokemon whose hearts have been closed, which makes them evil for some reason. Yeah, I don't, that's never really explained. Anyway, these Pokemon were created by Team Cypher and distributed to people across the never-before-seen Ore region. The main goal that you as a player have is to steal back these Pokemon from trainers using the Snag machine, and then later open their hearts to turn them back into normal Pokemon. Shadow Pokemon start out with a single attack called Shadow Rush, which is a typeless physical attack. They learn more moves as their hearts begin to open more, as indicated by the heart gauge where their experience bar would be if they were a normal Pokemon. Once this gauge depletes completely, you are able to purify the Pokemon, which allows you to trade it to your Game Boy Advance games, and also replaces Shadow Rush with a different move. This is a really cool mechanic that's really creative and different, and you don't see it in any other Pokemon games except for the sequel to this game. However, there's a pretty big flaw with this in the form of Hyper Mode. Basically, a Pokemon will go into Hyper Mode in the middle of a battle, and when they do, whatever attack they were supposed to use that turn is not used, and their turn is basically wasted. On top of that, a Pokemon in Hyper Mode is only allowed to use Shadow Rush and cannot take any items like potions. The only potential good part of this mechanic is that the critical hit rate on Shadow Rush skyrockets, which can be useful considering it's a pretty powerful attack, but it doesn't make up for the fact that if you want to get the Pokemon out of Hyper Mode, you have to use the Call command, which uses up another turn and slightly lowers the Pokemon's heart gauge. So that means that Pokemon will go 2 turns without doing anything, and at that time, the Pokemon could potentially get knocked out, making your efforts to get it out of Hyper Mode meaningless. This is extremely frustrating for obvious reasons. There are one of 2 ways this mechanic could have been improved: by not implementing it in the first place, or make it so the Shadow Pokemon can still use the attack it was going to use on the turn it goes into Hyper Mode. It just seems like a really arbitrary mechanic that seems kinda lazily shoehorned in. In conclusion, Pokémon Colosseum is definitely one of my favorite Pokemon games, if not my favorite Pokemon game. It's definitely not perfect like I've already said. I've already gone over why it's not the greatest, but if you like Pokemon in any capacity, it's definitely worth the playthrough. It's different, and that's what I really like about it. So give it a try, and let me know what you think, because I'm curious to see how you feel about it. Hey, what's going on? Thanks a lot for watching. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comments. I don't. This is the first time I've ever really done something like this, so really anything is appreciated. Whether it's this is a great video, or you really need to improve on this, or fuck you, Den, you're a piece of shit. Whatever it is, let me know. I just want to know. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you real soon.